boxing truth here. Adonis Stevenson is a fucking joke. A report came out from Boxing Scene that the proposed rematch with Andrzej Fonfara, my bad, don't know how to pronounce his first name, it's not happening anytime soon, according to Fonfara, as negotiations for that fight are dead, and the fight's not going to happen. Stevenson just continues to make himself look worse and worse. Big joke. As he's continuing to avoid the biggest threats in the light heavyweight division. I mean, the guy doesn't want to fight anybody. Ever since Heyman took him over to Showtime, influenced him to bypass the fight with Kovalev on HBO, he has continuously ducked the biggest threats out there in the light heavyweight division. And instead, always choosing to go the path of least resistance. Now, you can say that Adonis Stevenson has ducked Sergey Kovalev. He's ducked John Pascal. The guy won't even fight a 51-year-old Bernard Hopkins. Now, according to Hopkins, he tried to make a fight with Stevenson. He was trying to get a big fight for this year. He wanted a world title shot. He was pursuing options at super middleweight. Even was discussing with Golovkin, but he went another direction. And then he had nothing else on the table, so he tried to go at Stevenson, try to get him to entice him to fight him. Since he wouldn't fight him before, when they were in negotiations to fight, before the fight Hopkins had with Kovalev, playing chess with Heyman, as Hopkins surprised everybody by signing to fight Kovalev as the negotiations with Stevenson kept dragging out. So Hopkins gave an opportunity to fight him. Hopkins still a named fighter, still well known in Canada, fought there numerous times. Would have been an option for Stevenson, but no. According to Hopkins, their team turned down the fight. They wanted no part of that. And now he's taking a path of least resistance to avoid a rematch with Fonfara. Fonfara is the best fight out there for him at this moment. Since he doesn't want to fight Hopkins, Fonfara is the guy. They had a good fight in their first fight. Fonfara wasn't as highly regarded as he is now. He's a lot better. He's improved. He's really improved as a fighter the last couple of years. He's a legit contender. Top 10 light heavyweight. Highly ranked in the organization. But according to Stevenson's promoter, Fonfara's team are asking for too much money. But Fonfara has come out and said that he doesn't understand why Stevenson won't take the fight. It's a lot of good money being offered on the table for him to take the rematch. The first fight was tough for Stevenson. He started out well, dominated, then got knocked down and had a life and death struggle with Fonfara. Surprised a lot of people. But Fonfara has showed his worth. He's been in good fights. He upsetted Chavez Jr., which was considered an upset, even though he was naturally bigger and the best big guy Chavez Jr. ever fought. That was one of the only times he fought a bigger guy than himself, and you saw what happened. Fonfara trash Chavez Jr. He was also in a good fight against Nathan Cleverly. Those guys went at each other, drew a lot of punches, landed a lot of punches. Exciting fight. So now that Stevenson doesn't want to fight anybody, why not just settle for a rematch with Fonfara? It'll be your best opponent since Fonfara, since he fought Fonfara. That's his light heavyweight run has been. It's been a weak light heavyweight run ever since he left HBO. Had a lot of momentum. Started out the 2013 campaign, avenging his knockout loss to Darnell Boone. Then he became the lineal champion by knocking out Chad Dawson in 1 round. Dawson was coming off a knockout loss to Ward, so that win's not really that impressive, but he became the lineal champion. But he followed it up with 2 solid defenses. Just, dominated, schooled Tavares Cloud. Cloud is a strong pressure fighter, solid puncher, physically strong, but one-dimensional. But Stevenson did his job. He trashed him. He schooled. He outboxed him, stopped him. He did what. It was an impressive performance. Then he followed that up with Tony Bello. My bad. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Knocked him out. Who was the top contender at light heavyweight. 4 fights in 2013. Fought solid opposition. Became a lineal champion. Scored 4 crushing knockouts. Became the fighter of the year. And he has done jack shit ever since. Went over to Showtime and he has fought a lot of soft touches, handpicked guys, faded super middleweights moving up, guys that didn't deserve shots at the title, and he has avoided every threat at light heavyweight. There's no denying it. Hasn't fought Hopkins, hasn't fought Kovalev, didn't fight Pascal even. Pascal was calling him out for a long time. Wouldn't fight him for whatever reason. So Adonis Stevenson is continuing his ducking ways, and once again choosing the path of least resistance. There are other options on the table for Stevenson, according to his promoter. They're also looking to fight Edwin Rodriguez. However, they're unsure of his availability since he was scheduled to fight Thomas Williams on March 12th. They might reschedule that fight so he could be off the table. However, if he fights Edwin Rodriguez, that is a path of least resistance. Rodriguez, chinny, very beatable. Who's he beat? Exactly. Another option on the table is Elador Alvarez. He's the mandatory challenger to Stevenson's WBC belt. I'm not impressed with Elador Alvarez. I've seen him fight twice. Nothing wows me about him. I mean, he's a solid light heavyweight, but he's not elite. He's not a world beater. Doesn't have a tremendous amount of fights. He's not a bad fighter, but I don't see anything special about him. He is the number 1 contender, but I feel that's also a path of least resistance. To me, Fonfara is a little more experienced, a little more seasoned, been in there with better opposition. He's the top guy on the Heyman side that Stevenson could fight, since the Kovalev fight is never going to happen. So Al Heyman has some thinking to do with when it comes to Stevenson. Because he's up there in age now. He's going to be what? He's 39 this year. They're going to have to figure out which fighter on their side do they want to come to fight Stevenson and beat him. So they're going to have to try to set up Stevenson and getting beat by one of their up-and-coming fighters. And looking at the list, there's a few guys that they might want. They might want Stevenson to lose to. Perhaps Marcus Brown, who's coming up, and also Offer Beterbiev is also ranked in the top 6 of the WBC rankings. So either one of those 2 guys, or maybe someone else, that'll be in line to fight Stevenson, and perhaps keep the WBC light heavyweight title on Heyman's side, since Stevenson is getting up there in age. But this is Stevenson's career. Him and his team made up a lame excuse not to take the Kovalev fight over some network issues where it doesn't seem like it just, since he's been fighting on different networks for the past few years, that pretty much means he's not tied to any network. But that's what he's been doing. He doesn't, not fighting any real opponents or real contenders, avoiding the biggest threats, light heavyweight, and choosing the path of least resistance to avoid the tougher challenges in his weight division. The only thing interesting about Stevenson's career right now is what's going to happen in the near future. Is he going to get the legacy fight he craves, or he doesn't even want the fight? Or is he going to let his advisors not look out for the best interests of him and his career and set him up to get beat by one of his own up-and-coming fighters? This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.